So what's important to know about the history of social and educational justice in Evanston is that we are working on it. Like, it's still a work in progress. There have been many ways where a lot of the decisions that were made over 50 years ago have affected students and affected the outcomes that we see in terms of education, primarily for our students who are qualified as low income and for our Black and Latinx students. So it's important to recognize that even though this has happened, it's still going on today. In terms of working with Books and Breakfast, this is exactly why we exist, so that we can offer resources to families whose kids would benefit from healthy meal, from relationship building, from point of connection, and to give them the extra academic boost that just helps support them in the things that they're doing in the classroom and in school buildings throughout the day.
Well, Evanston is a diverse community with a vast multicultural makeup, which is great, but unfortunately the educational quality is not up to the level that we would like it to be. And we kind of have to look back to the past to see what's happening. And when integration first started in Evanston, many of our kids were displaced or left behind. And because of the way that the school boundaries were set, the way that the schools were staffed, many of our kids were not necessarily encouraged, and this actually led to many disparities, and we still see those today. Books and Breakfast is a simple but meaningful way that we can combat inequities in our educational system. We just want to make sure that our kids are emotionally, physically, and academically ready for their day, so we just try to make sure that we make sure that they have a positive start to their school day.
I think what we're going to see is, particularly for students and families of color, their experiences and the outcomes they're having within our school are, they're not equitable, and they aren't in many ways set up in the same ways that white families and white students are for the same type of inclusion and for the same type of success. I think we have a lot of work to do in creating school communities where every family really does have what they need, where every student has what they need, and where every student can thrive, and where there's a sense of genuine welcome. So I think if I was starting to learn about that in Evanston, I would ask questions about the Fifth Ward and the way it's been districted and the way that busing has been operating for years and the way that it's really, really disadvantaged students and families that have to leave their neighborhood to go to schools outside of close to where they live. I would think about that same dynamic of busing for Native Spanish-speaking students in our dual language programs called TWE, how that creates, again, a sense of displacement in some ways from where you live. I think just asking questions about who is really given welcome and priority in schools, and what does that look like on the day-to-day and in classrooms. I think there's a lot to learn, and I think overall the lesson is we have a long way to go to becoming a place that is really racially just and equitable in our school systems.